After my last video, I made a lot of progress in my tandem drifting, and I'm really starting to feel like I'm in control of the car, instead of the car being in control of me. So I went and joined a more competitive server with higher horsepower cars and on a pro track, and I was still getting cooked. I was either panicking and flying off track or hitting the lead car, but I was not leaving until I got a clean chase lap. Alright, so recently I've been going online to enhance my skills as a chase driver. Because before I was using a mod called Virtual Steward, which allows you to put down a lead line and then you can chase that lead line. But when you chase your own lead line, you remember what you did in the past, which allows you to be proactive instead of reactive. So when you go to chase someone in real time, it's completely different from your practice. You're unable to predict them pulling the handbrake or adding more angle, and at least you making more mistakes. And those mistakes can cost you a whole battle. So I went online and browsed through the servers. And there's so many to choose from, but I wanted to find the perfect one. The perfect cars on the perfect track with the perfect amount of people in it. And I found this. It has the VDC cars at Drift Masters Riga, and it had an okay amount of people in it. So I joined it, and I chose a Nissan S14. I'm gonna take you guys on a track walk, showing you the zones and how the track flows. So let me know what you think of this in the comments below. Alright, you come through the chicane. You shift 2, 3, then 4. Hard flick left, huge entry right, a lot of speed coming through here. Coming into outside zone 1, long outside zone, no runoff. But there's a little bit of runoff right here, which I never knew before, but come through this whole thing. What is this guy doing going backwards? Transition mid-track to hit this touch and go, outside zone 2, then inner clip 1. You just maintain that throttle and angle coming through here. Another touch and go to outside zone 3. Quick transition into outside zone 4. And then quick transition onto the wall into the final outside zone here. You just ride the wall all the way through, over the finish line. Now that you know the track, let's get into my runs. First lap out, chasing the Mark III Supra. He hit the cone, which slowed him down, and I realized his Mustang came behind us as well. I was a little behind on the entry, but his line wasn't the best, so I was able to catch up. And the Mustang comes in doing Mustang things and hits me. Next lap out, I went for a lead with an E36 chasing me. Shifted 2, 3, 4. Huge flick in, a little bit of handbrake. Didn't get outer zone 1 the best. Transition, nailed outer zone 2, inner clip 1, and halfway in outer zone 3. And I usually use the handbrake coming into outer zone 4. But I didn't this time, and it helped me keep my momentum and nail the zone. Then transition for the wall ride, and the same E46 was coming back the other way. Next lap, I went for a chasing this BMW. He hit the cone, so I slowed down, which led to me falling behind. And he didn't enter the way I thought he would, which led to my entry being a little weird. So this run was already off to a bad start. But I stayed in it, because in battle, there's no reset. You have to salvage the run, so I ran a shallower line to catch up, then panicked and slammed on the brakes, which locked the front brakes and made me gain too much angle, causing me to fall behind again. Coming onto the wall, I ran a shallower line to catch up, and finally got on this door. These types of runs are learning experiences. Driving with so many different drivers means you run into many different driving styles, and some drivers do things completely different than the way you do it, which forces you to have to adapt in real time. And this lap is a perfect example of that, adapting in real time. Looking for redemption, I went and chased this S15, and instead of flicking, I just clutch kicked in, and I had a lot more speed and less angle, which led to me hitting the lead car. And I believe that if I was fast on the reaction and pulled the handbrake and added angle, I could have avoided the crash. Then I went and chased this yellow BMW again, and I remembered the way he entered last time, so I modified mine to compensate for his, and I got some decent proximity coming into the first outer zone. He went out a little wide, causing his transition to be later, so I had a lot more speed, so I pulled the handbrake to give him time to get back on power. Stayed relatively stable through this part of the track, but during this transition I had way too much speed and didn't get on throttle fast enough, causing me to fly off track, but somehow saved it and had to cut the line to catch back up. This was by far my best chase run yet. I adapted to his entry style, had decent proximity through the first zone, got really close through the transition and reacted to him being a little slower coming out of it. Maintained proximity, but then just misjudged it and flew off track. But this run made me realize something. I get very nervous in the chase position. I get so scared that I'm going to hit the lead car that I start overreacting. Because in the lead, I don't feel that same nervousness. To test this, I went and put down a lead with the BMW following me this time. Did my usual entry with a flick and a little bit of handbrake, but didn't really get into outer zone 1. Transitioned mid-track and barely got outer zone 2, nailed the inner clip, got outer zone 3, and only got about half of 4, and was a little shallow coming onto the wall. That run wasn't the best, but I realized the difference in confidence. I realized I have so much more confidence in the lead because I'm just putting down a lap. But in the chase, you have an added layer on top of that. You're worrying about proximity and matching their angle. And recently I realized for some reason I try to hit the zones even if the lead car doesn't. So I'm adding even more stress on myself because I'm adding an extra element that shouldn't even be there. All you have to do is follow the lead car's line. And I've subconsciously built this perfectionism in trying to hit every single zone perfectly. And that's transferred over to my chase driving as well. So during my next chase lap, I decided to drive it as if it was a lead. So I was chasing this Mark III Supra, flicked in, had a little too much speed and tapped him, but I stayed in it. I did not back off, and he was able to save it as well. Transitioned and was able to get back on his door. Started to fall back to set myself up for this transition and dive on his door. But coming onto the wall, I transitioned way too early and snappy, causing me to cut the line a bit. But then he hit the wall here, and we were unable to finish the run. Now let's say this was a battle, top 32, 16, whatever. I did hit him in the beginning, but I stayed in it instead of shutting it down. And I was able to get back on the line and maintain decent proximity. And him hitting the wall at the end, I feel like, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I do feel like I would have won this battle. Now, there are some leads that you just can't predict. Like this BMW on entry was really slow and just pulled the handbrake. Because as a lead driver, you can't do something out of the ordinary and expect a chase driver to be able to react to it. And I did another lead with this Mustang chasing me. And this was by far my best entry. I got all of the first outer zone. Transitioned perfectly. And tell me why I saw this Mustang come across the front end of my car. So after that, I went into some chases. But you know that feeling where you just continue to get worse and worse and you can't even complete a lap? Well, that's the feeling I had here, and it lasted like 10 to 15 minutes. Then I was chasing this S13, and I realized my transition into outer zone 4 is way too snappy, and this part of the track is where I continue to get left. So the next lap with the same S13, I tried to assist the wheel through the transition, which was a lot better, but I was still falling behind a bit. So I went and did a lead lap, but this time I tried to transition while on throttle, and it made it a lot smoother while also allowing me to maintain a wider line. So with all of that in mind, I went and chased this white BMW. He hit the cone, which made me slow down, and then he gapped me, so I wasn't in the best spot during the entry. Flicked it in, wasn't on the best line, so I pulled the handbrake, and didn't get too close to set myself up to dive on this transition. And for some reason, he was a little shaky through here, so I pulled the handbrake and just stayed steady through the section and remained patient and walked through the transition. And I didn't worry about the zone because he wasn't in the zone. I just followed his line. And the same on the wall. He wasn't in the zone, so I didn't worry about it. I just followed him. And this was by far my best chase run during this session. These are the type of sessions that really push you. And if I really want to get any better, I have to push myself. And that's why I'm doing this. We're still not pro yet, but today we're a lot closer to it than we were yesterday. And a lot of you have been asking for longer videos. So I really tried to make this one as long as possible without it being too repetitive, with the different camera angles and really going more in depth than what I'm thinking. So just give me some time. I'm still trying to figure everything out. And thank you so much for watching. You don't understand how much it means to me. So like and subscribe and come back, because I'm posting my whole journey to become a pro sim drifter, and I want you along for the journey.